Hi everybody, I hope you guys are doing well. It is Friday, the first day of May. May is our last month of the school year. We have I want to say 2.5 or 3.5 weeks of school left. I can't remember. But today is the last new material that you guys are going to get all year. This is the second half of lesson 15.2, which is the last new lesson of the year. Next week we are going to, on Monday and Wednesday, we're going to be reviewing, and then on Friday you guys are going to take the Module 15 quiz, and then after that we're just basically reviewing for the rest of the year after that. We're basically just going to be reviewing what we've learned all year. Okay, so really this is the last new lesson of the year, which is kind of exciting, right? You guys should be proud that you are finally coming to a close here. Let's go ahead and get into it. Our objective for today is to organize and analyze categorical data. We started this lesson on Wednesday. If you haven't yet done Wednesday's lesson, I would really recommend you go back and do that one first before you move on to this one so that you're not completely lost. Okay. All right, so today we're talking about calculating conditional relative frequencies. Okay, so one other type of relative frequency that you can obtain from a two-way frequency table is a conditional relative frequency. Now I would write this definition down. A conditional relative frequency is found by dividing a frequency that is not in the total row. Okay, dividing a frequency that's not in the total row or the total column by the frequency's row total or column total. Okay, now that might sound confusing, but basically you're going to have a table here, right? And like this. This is going to be the total. Okay, and then we'll say this is the total down here as well, right? You got, so like this, these are the row totals. These would be the column totals, right? So basically what it's saying is that you take a frequency that's not in the total row or total column, so like it would be one of these frequencies, and you divide it by either the total row or the total column, depending on what you're trying to find. So the total would be this is a total row, this is a total row, this is a total column, this is a column total right here. Okay, so you take one of these and divide it by one of these. Okay, that's how you find a conditional relative frequency. Now let's look at a couple of examples involving this. Okay, so from Maria's two-way frequency table, so we kind of talked about this frequency table on Wednesday, okay, which she did a study based on, boys and girls, whether they prefer dogs, cats, or other pets, right? So from that table, you know that 22 students are girls and 15 students prefer cats, right? So if we look at the cats total here, 9 plus 6, that's 15. And then 22 students are girls, right? If you add up all the girls right here, that gets you a total of 10 plus 9 plus 3, which is 22. Okay. You also know that 9 students are girls who prefer cats. So 9 students are girls who prefer cats. Use this to find each conditional relative frequency. Okay. Now part A says find the conditional relative frequency that a student surveyed prefers cats as pets. And this wording here is important. It says given that the student is a girl. Okay. Given that the student is a girl. Whenever it says given, and then whatever it says after that is basically the row or the column that we're going to focus on. So given that the student is a girl means we're going to focus on this column or on this row right here, the girl row. It says given that the student is a girl, so we're only going to focus on the girl row. We want the conditional relative frequency the student prefers cats as pets, given that the student is a girl. Now think about, one way you can think about conditional relative frequency, think of it kind of like finding the probability of something, okay? right? So it says find the conditional relative frequency that a student prefers cats as pets given the student is a girl. Basically what it's saying is find the probability that a girl prefers cats, okay, from the survey. Okay, so basically what we want to do is we want to divide the number of girls who prefer cats by the number of total girls. Well, there's 9 girls who prefer cats, and there's 22 total girls. Okay, so you take 9 divided by 22, which is 0.409. Now I've got all these written down ahead of time, but if you don't know, you can always just use Desmos, right? Plug it into Desmos, do 9 divided by 22 to get your decimal. And then we want this as a decimal and as a percent, so we're also going to write it as 40.9%. This is the conditional relative frequency that a student surveyed prefers cats given that the student is a girl. Okay. Next, we want to find the conditional relative frequency that a student surveyed is a girl given that the student prefers cats as pets. Again, here's that word given that the student prefers cats as pets. So now we want to focus on students that prefer cats as pets. This is going to focus us on the column, cats. Okay, we want to focus on the students that prefer cats here. And we want the relative frequency of the student surveyed as a girl. There are 9 students that are girls that prefer cats. And now we take, divide the number of girls who prefer cats by the column total. So 9 divided by 15. This is a 9. Okay, 9 divided by 15 is 0.6, which is 60%. Okay, this is how you find conditional relative frequency. Okay, basically you're only focusing on one column or one row of the table, of the frequency table. Okay, next, finding possible associations between the variables. You can use conditional relative frequency to see if there's association between two variables. So you can see if these are related in some way. Okay, so Maria, same person, we're still talking about the same person, same data. Maria conducted her survey because she was interested in the question, does gender influence what type of pet people prefer? So basically she's want to know, do more boys prefer dogs than girls? Or are girls more inclined to like cats than dogs? Or are boys more inclined to like cats than dogs, or something like that? She's trying to figure out if there's a relationship between cats, between what type of gender you are and what type of cat you prefer. Okay. If there is no influence, then the distribution of gender within each subgroup of pet preference should be roughly equal to the distribution of gender within the whole group. Use the results of Maria's survey to investigate possible influences of gender on pet preference. All right, so before we get started, I want to kind of fill in these totals here. So I'm going to add these up. 10 plus 12, this is 22. 9 plus 6 is 15. 3 plus 10 gives us 13. Over here, the row totals, we can do 10 plus 9 plus 3 is 22. 12 plus 6 is 18, plus 10 is 28. And then there's a total of 50 people surveyed. Okay. So step 1, identify the percent of all students surveyed who are girls. Okay. The percent of all of the students surveyed who are girls. There's 22 girls that were surveyed. 22 divided by 50 gives us a percent of 44%. Cutting it close there. Okay, 44% of the students surveyed are girls. Okay. Next, determine each conditional relative frequency. Of the 22 students who prefer dogs as pets, 10 are girls. So what we want is we want the percent who are girls. There's that word given a preference for dogs as pets. So a preference for dogs as pets, we want to focus on dogs here, this dog column. We want the percent of them who are girls. That's 10 divided by 22. Okay, 10 of them are girls. So 10 divided by 22 Okay, again, I've got the percents written down here, but you can actually plug them into Desmos, right? Let's go over to Desmos real quick. 10 divided by 22 gives us 45%. So 45% of dog lovers are girls. Okay? Next, of the 15 students who prefer cats as pets, 9 are girls. So what we want now is the percent who are girls given a preference for cats as pets. So here's our cats total. We want the percent of them who are girls. So here's 15. There's 9 out of 15. Okay, 9 divided by 15 is 60%. And then last, let's look at the other category. So we want the percent of those who are girls given, again, there's that given word, a preference for other pets. Here's the other pets category. We want the percent of them who are girls. So that's 3 out of 13. 3 out of 13 gives us a percent of 23%. Okay? Now, we found these percents. What do these percents mean? Okay? We need to be able to interpret the results by comparing each of these conditional relative frequencies to the percent of all students surveyed who are girls. So we found out that there are 44% of the total girls, or I'm sorry, 44% of the whole people surveyed are girls, right? 44% are girls. 45% of the, if we just focus on the dog category, we can see 45% of the people who like dogs are girls. Since 45% and 44%, those are pretty close. They're not exact, obviously, but those are pretty close to similar percents. We can say that the gender doesn't really appear to influence a preference for dogs here, right? Okay, because you would expect about 44 or 45% of the people surveyed to prefer dogs to be girls. Okay, because 44% of the total people surveyed are girls. Okay, now, if the conditional relative frequency percent is higher, okay, such as this one, okay, so 60% of cat lovers are girls. So the percent of girls among students who prefer cats is 60%, which is a lot higher than 44%. That means that girls are more likely than boys to prefer cats, right? You can see 9 is a lot higher than 6. Girls are much more likely to prefer cats than boys are likely. Okay? Now, it's not saying that girls are more likely to prefer cats than dogs, right? Because you can see in this survey, 10 students preferred dogs, whereas 9 students preferred cats, right? What it's saying is that girls are more likely than boys to prefer cats, okay? And then last, the other category, other pets, only 23% of the people who said they prefer other pets are girls, which is a lot lower than this 44%, which means girls are less likely than boys to prefer other pets, right? Okay, 23% of the people that said other are girls, which means that 77% of them are boys. So boys are much more likely than girls to prefer pets. Okay. All right, so that is conditional relative frequency. The biggest thing I can recommend is that you pay attention to this word given. That's always meaning that you're looking to find a conditional relative frequency. Okay, whatever is said after the word given is the column or the row that you're talking about. So if it says given a preference for dogs as pets, you're focusing only on the dog column. Okay, maybe if it says given that the student is a boy, what would you focus on? Well, in this case, you would focus on the boy row. Okay, if it says given the student is a boy, you focus on the boy row. Okay, hopefully this made sense. Your assignment, your last HRW assignment of the year, well, actually no, that's not true. You have a pre-test next week that I'm going to assign to you as well. But your last lesson assignment on HRW for the year, I should say, okay, is the HRW 15.2 homework. Okay, So go ahead and get started on that. If you have any questions over this lesson or any past lesson, feel free to shoot me an email. I am more than happy to help. I will try and answer as quickly as I possibly can to make sure you get your help right away. If you have any questions over this assignment or your grade or any missing work that you might have, make sure you ask. Also, some of you do have some missing homework. Make sure you get any missing homework that you turned in. There will be, I'm going to kind of talk about it next week at some point, but there's going to be a reward for you if you have all of your missing assignments turned in by next Friday. Okay, so stay tuned next week. I'll let you know what that reward is, but it'll be a good one. It will help your grade out quite a bit. So make sure you get all your missing work turned in as soon as you can. If you see any incompletes on Harmony, make sure you get those done. If you don't know what to do, if you don't know what that assignment is, shoot me an email and ask, and I can let you know. I can help you out. Okay. Also, I've had a lot of people asking what they can do to get their grade up. The best thing I can recommend to get your grade up is to make corrections on your quizzes and tests that we've done in this quarter. Okay. So email me if you want to do any of those corrections. I'll help you out with those. That'll help you get your grade up. Okay. Hopefully you guys have a good weekend. I will see you guys on Monday. Bye, guys.